when the ball drops in Times Square. London officials are adding a whole new dimension to their celebration, fragrance, with flavored mist, peach snow, edible banana confetti, and orange scented bubbles. Angela Lansbury has been named the Queen of the British Empire. She was one of more than 1,000 people recognized by the Queen in the New Year's honors list.
Take this one.
That's all right.
Jim, pull up the other chair.
I'll leave. I'll go home.
Huh? What?
I'll go home.
Racing champ
No,
Michael
pull up a
Schumacher
chair.
has undergone a second brain operation following a skiing spill. ABC's Tom Rivers.
Warren.
Yeah, here, take those.
However small, was unexpected.
And this is, that's
Decided
sure.
to conduct the second operation to relieve additional pressure on the brain. Chief surgeon through a translator.
There is an improvement compared to yesterday, but he's not as...
I appreciate things you're writing. I enjoy it very, very much. Very good.
Thank you.
ABC News.
Okay, we're on. Okay, this is the show with no name. I didn't have time to cue the theme song, but we're on the air, I guess. Okay, I'm Bob Going. Gavin Murdoch's here. Jim Nicosia, and we have a very special guest today, which is why I'm all discombobulated, because we have Phillip Tambasco. Those of you who follow Facebook know who Phillip is. He's like the new historian for the city of Amsterdam. He's learning things that we never learned before.
Or things we learned that we forgot.
Yeah, we forgot. Gavin, if you just tilt it a little bit toward Phillip, if you would. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got the camera going too, because everybody on Facebook says we want a recording of this, so I'm doubling it up. I'm doing the audio, I'm doing the video.
Who's everybody?
Everybody. These people on Facebook. These people on Facebook. They all said, make sure there's a recording, because I can't listen, because people think that working is more important than this. And anyway, Phillip. Okay, I first started reading your stuff, and I said, well, here's a guy obviously born in the 1930s who has a very strong recollection of the roots of the city of Amsterdam. And then I run into your mother, and
You realize she couldn't have had kids in the 30s.
yeah, she could not possibly have had kids in the 30s. You're 15 years old, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Going on 30.
You're going on older than Nicosia here.
That's not possible.
You have a remarkable institutional memory of old Amsterdam. I realize that you're mining this stuff, but what caused your interest in this?
Well, I don't know. I've always been interested in history. And I found the Facebook page, and I was looking around and I saw some old pictures on there, so I figured I'll ask a question, see how many comments I can get, and I ended up getting a lot of comments, so I kept it a daily thing.
And it is quite amazing, the things you've got going here. Let's see. The one I was mentioning to Sam, your interest in the bars of the city of Amsterdam intrigues me.
Must be hereditary.
His father's listening.
Yes. Be careful how you answer this. Remember, we're going out all over the universe because we're on the internet as well as, and we are recording this. So. Yeah, you're too young to remember the days of the bars, but Jim certainly is, and Gavin and I came in kind of at the tail end because drinking age was 18, which meant
We could start.
15 at certain places. But I never bought a drink in a bar until I was 18.
And I never got proofed in a bar until I turned 18.
You're saying you got them free until you were 18. Is that what you're saying?
No. No. If
He never ordered.
Anyway, I'm interrupting you. So here's my theory. My theory is that some English teacher or history teacher gave you a research project about the customs and mores and history of Amsterdam, and that rather than doing the research yourself, you're getting everybody else to do it for you. Is that right? No. Okay.
Who's your history teacher?
Mine right now is Mrs. Cease, 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Gavin's on the school board, so he keeps an eye on these things. He's
just
also
checking.
the former principal of
Be careful what you say.
Amsterdam High School. Yes, and he knows all these people. He also said you could, if you wanted to come in sometime during the school day, feel free because it's an educational experience. Now you chose as your current avatar on Facebook the old wreck of a house on McDonald Street that Rip Rowan grew up in, and I guess it has a long history before that, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it was called the Cornelia. It was, I forgot the name of the people who owned it, but I think it was built in the early 20th century, and they wanted to like rent it out to people that couldn't afford a big mansion like that, so a lot of the school teachers would use it.
No.
A lot of people coming into town.
Yeah, 'cause school teachers were all the women were all spinsters back then.
That was one of the requirements.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong about that.
No, you're right about that.
Yeah. When did that end?
Probably in the late 40s, early 50s.
Is that right?
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Now you grew up in the age of liberation here.
Equality.
Women were not allowed to teach school if they were married.
And they weren't allowed to date while they were teaching school.
My father-in-law said he used to love to date teachers. This was before he was married. Yeah. He said,
Yeah?
Yeah, he said they were a lot of fun.
Sure, they knew a lot.
Anyway, okay. So this was like a boarding house, and it is a mansion. I mean, it was a mansion.
Have you ever been in it?
No, because it was knocked down 2007, I believe.
Okay. So started just later. Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just a kid. We're talking about the place that was behind Stewart's on Guy Park Avenue. A beautiful, pillared mansion, and cripes, by the time I noticed it was already fallen down. And
It was on a lot of postcards.
yeah.
Do you collect postcards?
No, I have one or two, but I bought the book of postcards, and that's an interesting book. It has a lot of information in it.
It does. That was done by Van Hasselen and Jerry Snyder, right?
Yeah, that was part of the Historic Amsterdam League project.
Yeah. We'll make sure we
I
get
think
one.
they attempted to rehab that building at one time, early 200s or 2000s.
It's too late by then?
Yeah.
Well, the city ended up owning it, I think, at one time. I don't remember whether you were on the council or not, but we sold it to somebody. I'm pretty sure that's the way it happened. The city sold it to somebody, and they were going to rehab it, and the roof, of course, was a disaster. And
I think that was after.
Started on the roof, put a big blue tarp over it. Really, by that time, with those holes in the roof, there probably wasn't much left inside. What a shame. What a shame.
Do you get a lot of your ideas from your family?
Yeah, I do. Like my grandfather gives me a lot of ideas.
Which grandfather?
Mike.
Yeah. You're related to everybody in town, aren't you?
Yeah, I have a lot of relatives.
Let's see.
What do they think of your work?
I get a lot of questions about it, like what caused me to start doing all this, but they like it. It brings back a lot of memories for a lot of people.
What else do you use for your sources?
Well, I use the book every now and then I'll just look around on Facebook, and like people post pictures, they say remember that, so then I'll just ask the question, I'll go further into detail with it. I get a lot from my family members, they'll ask me to write a question. Then I get people private messaging me, asking me to ask a question.
You had Repepe blood in you too, right?
Yes, he was the brother of my grandmother.
Yeah. We're talking about Tom. Yeah, and that alone makes you related to half the town. We don't even get to the Nimchik side. Wow. Yeah. Well, of course, it makes you related to all of us too. I don't know if you realize you're related to Jim a couple of different ways. Tom Repepe's son John. John, your mother's your mother's cousin. Your father's cousin.
Yeah.
Right. I know everybody, but they all go to St. Mary's. So so John Repepe's married to Cookie Medwood, or as her father Harry says, my Mary. He's the only one who ever called her Mary, as far as I know. Everybody else has always called her Cookie. Now, Cookie's brother, Mike, is married to Colleen Hardy's, who is my second cousin. Her mother and my father were first cousins. So there you go. That's how you're related to me.
So you have to watch out who you talk about in the city. You can be talking about one of your relatives.
Let's see, Gavin. Let's see. We got to get to you through the Starks. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little complicated.
But you can get there.
You can get there.
You can get there.
It's a long story. If I start going into it, there'll be nothing left for you to talk about here. It'll be just me talking. Frankly, go ahead again.
What's the most surprising thing you've come across or found out in your quest here about old Amsterdam?
Well, it was definitely, I started this thing like picking apart the city, like what businesses used to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with the East End, and I got tons and tons and tons of responses.
Is that surprising?
Yeah. I mean, I knew there was a lot of businesses down there, but I got over 300 responses in 8 hours. It was, there was a lot.
And there's like almost nothing there now.
It just got drained out. I started my new page, and I have over 200 members on there. It's going pretty good.
Yeah, you got like 200 members overnight, just about.
What's that new page called?
It's called You Know You Are From Amsterdam, New York.
Yeah. And Y-O-U apostrophe R-E now.
Oh, I had to change that, yes.
Yeah, it's going to send you...
I used the wrong
grammar. But,
History major, not in English.
Post something wrong on Facebook, you will be corrected.
Who's your English teacher?
Mrs. Laverio.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mrs. Laverio.
All right. Make sure you check his spelling, Amy, when you do his work. Could be some errors.
It's the other.
Oh, the other Laverio. That's right. There are 2 Laverios at the high school.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, well, then maybe I don't know Mrs. Laverio.
She used to be a Vigilati.
Oh, yeah, her I know. She's the one I know.
That's when you know.
Yeah, because her sister Paula was my classmate.
Right.
What's the most surprising business that you ran across that was in the city?
Well, it was like a doll fix. It was like you would bring dolls there to fix them.
Oh, a doll hospital. Yeah.
I saw that on there because I wrote about, at one time, the Sanfords, he had like a children home on High Park. And somebody wrote, do you remember like the doll hospital? And that caught me by surprise. That's a little weird.
Has anybody sent you any pictures of it? Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, so you may be able to mine some pictures that people have squirreled away in their attics and be getting those things out, which would really be great to be able to fill in these different sections of the city with all the pictures of the establishments.
There's an awful lot of photos and videos on the I Grew Up in Amsterdam site, but they're not organized.
No.
And it really would help to do that. They're all over. I know every once in a while I go looking for something and I'll find 6 copies of the same photograph that people have posted at different times.
Yeah.
Including me, you know. But
they're all shotguns there instead of categorized.
People should get put all their home movies on digital. You know what I have you done the South Side yet?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
When I was a kid, we lived in outside of Albany and used to come to Amsterdam to see my grandmother the back way, the South Side. And we used to get into Amsterdam from the South Side, you came down Mineville Street, which was, I think, a brick hill, wasn't it? Like Prospect Street?
Yeah, I think at least part of it was, yeah.
Part of it was. It was really steep. You'd go down this hill, and then you'd take a sharp left-hand turn at probably on River Street, I guess. And then you take another sharp turn to go over the bridge, and then you go over the river bridge, and then the bridge over the railroad was higher, so you'd have to go up and over in a very short period. It was a kabum, kabum, kabum. I remember the car. Of course, our cars always rattled, but they rattled a lot back then. I would love to see a movie of coming into Amsterdam the old way to see how much my memory is correct. That was a long time ago.
And that was one of the things they're looking to eliminate when they did the arterial coming in and the renovation downtown, because it just wasn't conducive to a whole lot of traffic.
Yeah.
It was a real bottleneck, and then what we came up with really...
Well, I don't know if you know this. Have you ever seen my movie of the demolition of the old bridge?
No.
That's floating around. I'll post it for you. What happened was the railroad system changed their criteria and required that that bridge that you already had to go up and over had to be even higher. Now, I was a kid at the time, and I'm stupid. What do I know? I said, why don't they just lower the tracks? It'd be a lot cheaper, But nobody listens to kids.
Until now.
Till now. That's why I invited you on, because I'm making up for when nobody was listening to me. So it made it impossible for the existing river bridge to continue, because you couldn't get over the railroad tracks. You could keep the bridge, but it would end right there, or it would only go to the railroad station, because the road to the railroad station was between, I don't know if you remember that, it was between the railroad bridge and the river bridge. You would take a right and go down the hill to the passenger station. You could actually drive right to the south side of the tracks, which is where the passenger station was. Now after $17 million later, they want to put the pedestrian bridge in exactly the same spot. And at the time, I was a stupid kid, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I said, well, if you're going to build a new bridge, why not just keep the old one and use it as a pedestrian bridge? And you can walk to the train station, or you could find a way to go up and over, climbing stairs or something to get up and over the railroad tracks. No. That's not progressive.
Until now.
Now it's progressive. You have Donlan's book? Hugh Donlan's book on Annals of a Milltown?
No.
Oh, I should give you a copy. I got 3. But then you'll be insufferable, because all the answers are in there. That's how I keep it right by my computer. So every time you post one of these things, I just flip through Donlan. And the other thing is the old city directories are great.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a pretty complete collection at the Walter Elwood Museum now, and I think they do up at the archives in Fonda. But you're just winging it then.
Yeah, I am.
So when you want to do written research, you're just going to what these amateurs are doing on the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Now, do you have a lot of pictures yourself and from your family that you're going to be posting?
I do have some, and I've posted some of them. But I've gotten some responses, and I got a Christmas gift of the 5-cent Amsterdam cinquentennial coin from 1954. Yeah, I got that as a gift this year, and because somebody posted a video of the parade on my page, and somebody posted it's like a button or something, like an advertising pin that somebody would put on their shirt. Right. They said the Brothers of the Brush.
Well, that's us. That's me and Gavin. That's me and Gavin. We're the Brothers of the Brush.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week, I think, on the show. Gavin was 2, I was 3, and we both remember that parade because it was such a remarkable event. Like every guy in town was in on the Brothers of the Brush, and everybody started growing beards, and the whole freaking town, all the men in town had beards, and there were contests between the bars, between the factories, between the bowling teams. Who's got the best beard? Everybody lost, I think.
But, I got probably 10 or 15 feet of film from that parade at Gardner Street and Division Street when I lived on Gardner Street. That I had a movie camera back.
You ought to get it put up.
That parade went all over town.
Yes, it did.
I've seen pictures of it on the south side. I mean, the folks were coming from every direction. And it was just that had to have been the biggest parade the city ever had.
Oh yeah, because we lived up on Henrietta Heights, and it came right up Fairmount Avenue, and then they had the kangaroo court at the end of the parade, and it was.
Shaved your beard off ahead of time, or you trimmed it too much. You had to go to court.
Yep. Yep.
The most impressive thing to me in that parade was the magic carpet from the mills. They had the guy sitting on top of a carpet that was weaving up and down.
Is that right?
Going down the video.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the video in a long time. We buried a copy of it in the time capsule.
Right. Along with a machine to play it in the future.
That's right. That's right. For the people in the future.
Don't have a VCR.
Wow.
I don't think you want to borrow mine.
That was only about 2004. We buried that time capsule. Already seems like 1,000 years ago, the stuff that's in it. Among other things, we reburied a copy of that button, I believe, from the 54.
Do you remember where the time capsule is?
Yeah, it's right beneath. There's a state monument in front of City Hall describing the Sanford Mansion that was put in while we were there. Matter of fact, I wrote that. I wrote what's on there, and it's right at the foot of that.
The previous time capsule, they forgot where it was.
Well, they found it though. They dug in. It was in the same spot. I don't even remember who remembered that it was even there. Somebody remembered.
Some old guy probably.
So it was 50 years later we dug it up, and the whole thing had collapsed from the freezing and thawing of the earth, and almost everything in it was destroyed, completely destroyed. The metal button survived, and a few other things like that.
You're posting on the drinking establishment. Is that your biggest hit on that you've posted so far? Or have you got something else that's got more?
Well, between that and I think that might be the biggest one on my page so far. Yeah.
Well, they're the most numerous thing in the city.
Yeah, there's
so
one on every corner and one in between, if it was a busy street.
That's right.
Of course, the classic Amsterdam challenge. Somebody called me at home. I think they said there were 87 bars between one end of the city and the other. 87 just on Main Street. Just on Main Street.
87.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, really.
Building.
And you'd go in and the same guy was sitting at the same seat at the same time every day.
Every day. Yeah.
Everybody had their own seats. Don't take somebody's seat.
Yeah.
Did your father ever take you to the bars?
I don't think that's illegal now.
Well, some have pizza, so you can go and get a pizza.
It wasn't legal back then either, but
I did in Nashville, though. I took in bars.
Yeah, but it was crazy.
well, that's different.
How about Mike and Maggie? Did they take you to the bars?
No.
Just asking.
Aside from those, what was the most numerous post there was there?
Well, today I posted about supermarkets, like grocery stores in Amsterdam. I got about 30 responses. I just posted at 8 o'clock. So.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of grocery stores.
And again, there were almost as many grocery stores as bars back then.
I worked in 3 of them.
Did you really?
Yeah. The Acme, the Grand Union, and the A&P.
Couldn't keep a job, huh?
Couldn't keep a job.
Which A&P?
The one on Walnut Street.
On Walnut Street, yeah. It's funny. I remember that being open, but it was a little store. It was kind of like Castler's or the Mohegan. But the big one was on Guy Park Avenue. That was the New Modern Supermarket. Oh, we got a call. I don't know how we're going to... wait a minute. Let me borrow your phones first. Well, no, you got to listen to this.
Oh, okay.
Let me borrow your phones, guys. I had to unplug one of the sets of headphones. Are you on?
Yeah, I just turned this down.
Okay. All right. I think we got a call here, so let's... Oh, no, or don't we? Well, maybe we don't. Oh, okay. It's not for us. All right. All right, we're trying to do 16 different things at once, including video. There we go. All right. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hey, listen, you couldn't get to the south side now if you wanted to, because the sidewalk is glare ice. They haven't cleared it. They didn't do it the last time either. And I forgot what else I was going to tell you. That's it. You just can't. That's very dangerous.
You're talking about over the bridge.
Yeah, I believe that's controlled by the recreation department.
Well, it's controlled
by. It's very dangerous. Don't even try to cross over. You're not going to make it. It's just if you're old, it's not going to happen.
Don't try my driveway either.
Okay, have a good day.
All right, thanks. Well, okay. All right, so we'll stay off the south side today if you're walking. What about historic Amsterdam? Anything surprise you about the way the town used to look? Or
yeah, definitely the downtown.
Yeah, the downtown. Well, I mean, I suppose it looked like every downtown in the United States at the time, but
you could find everything you needed downtown.
Right.
It didn't matter, what you're looking for. You're going about that 4-5 block area. You could get, women's dresses, men's suits. You could get your hobbies. You could get your coins. You want to buy your coin collector. You go in, you go get your coins for the coin collection.
You go to Rasmussen and Reese and get your chemicals for your chemistry set.
Yeah, that you probably can't have anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anything. We used to have a Sears Roebuck downtown. Now, yeah, you remember the old crank record players? You'd crank it up, play a 78 RPM because you couldn't play anything else on it. Well, I inherited one without a crank. Okay? Somebody passed it on to me. Now, even when I was a kid, this was ancient technology, okay? I was able to go into Sears and buy a crank that fit my machine so I could crank it up. And I said, can I have some phonograph needles at the same time? Yeah, sure. I got a couple packages of phonograph needles. These are like steel pins.
Yeah.
And you'd play like 3 times and you'd have to throw it out and put a new one in. That's how you know what records are?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I forget that.
Vinyl records you're talking about.
My wife, when she was teaching preschool, had one day came in and put a 33 album on to play something for the kids, and one of these 4-year-olds looks at it. That's the biggest CD I ever saw.
You got one of those machines for Christmas.
What, CD machine?
Phonograph.
Phonograph.
Now, how about the businesses that used to be here? It's like the factories and stuff. It was incredible how busy this town used to be.
Yeah, that's what someone posted about. You would be able to tell what color the rugs were by the water.
Oh, absolutely.
Color.
We remember that. Yeah. Because the
dye would get dumped in the Chuctanunda.
And Remember how the Chuctanunda used to smell? It was just.
It did.
Believe it or not, when we were maybe a little before we were kids, but the Chuctanunda. You could travel around Amsterdam all day and hardly know that the Chuctanunda Creek existed, because it was walled with factories and warehouses from one end to the other, except where it went under Main Street and under what's now the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame and the bank building. From there on up, both sides of the Chuctanunda Creek were walled in as far as the end of the city, really, all the way up to Mahaska, except where it went through the woods behind Veterans Field.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you could smell it when you got near.
Smell it, yeah. And the only openings like on Grove Street, Prospect Street,
where you walked, where the bridges were,
and the 4th Avenue Bridge, the Pulaski Bridge. That was it, right?
Yeah.
Well, until you get to Ordikes, but that's above the fact.
Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Just amazing me. And those were walled in, so you get that brief few feet.
You could see it.
Have you done any research on how many gambling joints were in town?
Oh, gambling! That's when you ought to bring up.
That's what you got to investigate.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe it or not, there was
probably.
I'm shocked to find there was gambling going on.
Yeah, every mom and pop shop or candy store or soup store had a back room, and each one had their own little niche. Whether it was blackjack or poker or dice.
We used to joke if you wanted to find a bookie, you look in the yellow pages under confectioneries.
Yeah.
Right?
You just go into some stores and they'll have the same package of candy or gum that was there 4 years before.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. You didn't buy anything to eat in these places.
It was the same one, but it was there just in case the feds came.
And it was a terrible vice until the state took it over.
That's right.
Now it's $1 and a dream.
Yeah. You used to be able to play for a nickel or a dime every day.
Sure.
Play the number.
Sure. How do you know that?
I had a relative. I had two relatives, one on both sides of the fence. Yes. Stark was the detective, and the other guy was the bookie.
Were they really on both sides of the fence?
I'm not sure there was a fence.
Okay.
Yeah. It was understood in Amsterdam. That was it.
Wow. That'd be a good one, though.
Yeah.
They had a big investigation. When was it? Was I in law school, I think? Must have been around 76. There was a big state investigation on gambling in Amsterdam. Of course, it was a big joke because it's like, wow, really? So they had, all these guys come in. They had people testifying in City Hall, and the investigators would come and sit in the local downtown restaurants and listen to what people were saying, and
the police used to follow the investigators.
Anyway, the point I'm getting at, there's one of the alleged gambling joints was posing as a shoe repair shop.
Yes, I think I know about that. East Main Street.
Right? That's correct. Yes. And one of the investigators is undercover, and he says, "You ever get any shoes in here?" He says, "Once in a while." Well, what do you do? He says, "Well, then we send them out to Papalas. I have them fixed. Send them to the other shoe repair shop."
Yeah, because they really repair shoes.
No, they just serve as
Yeah.
You drop the shoes off there, he gets them fixed and returns them to you. And,
that's all.
Meanwhile, play a couple of hands of poker. It's all kind of innocent. I don't know if those days are gone, but they certainly aren't thriving. All these factories, each floor had a runner. Who would go around collecting nickels and dimes from all the ladies doing the sewing and all that stuff, and then he'd pass it off to somebody else. At one time, the city buses were being used to transport the policy slips to the edge of the city. But we're shocked to find there's gambling going on.
And it wasn't a big deal. There's a lot of things that went on back then that people, it's not a big deal until somebody made it a big deal when they came in. Up to that, it was.
You can mark the end of old Amsterdam to that SIC investigation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh well.
Well, so do that as a post. See how many places people can identify as former establishments of.
You must be running out of topics. I mean, doing them one a day is.
Never run out in Amsterdam.
No, I've been going for a while.
When did you start?
Ooh. I want to say maybe around late September, early October, I think. And that was on the other page.
Yeah.
I did that.
I grew up in the Amsterdam page?
Yeah.
And if you were getting enough hits, you said we ought to just have my own page so that'll be geared just for this?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because then the other page started to get like spammers would come in and post all these stupid things. So then I would make my own page, and nobody's tried anything yet, but
good.
It's been good.
Keep it clean.
Hey, this is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yeah, I got a story about that Chuck and Under up in the Rockton area.
Yeah.
They used to release every Wednesday from Colette's or one of the factories up there dye.
Right.
And the water would turn 1 week yellow, 1 week blue, 1 week red. And we used to catch fish. And right after they released the dye, the fish would be that color. And then we thought it would be a good idea to go swimming when the dye was in there.
Oh,
so
my
we all
God.
jumped in and come out, and we were all like zombies.
Oh, my God.
Red, yellow, green.
And how's your skin color today?
Not too good. I don't swim anymore. I have all boils on my body.
I confess I one time swam in the city reservoir on Brookside Avenue, but I would never... I'd never even think of going into the Chuck and Under when the dye was being released. That's insanity.
That's why you're an intelligent individual, and I'm not so.
Oh, wow.
We used to fish the reservoir, though.
A lot of fish in the reservoir. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to
good sized fish.
because we lived right in Rockton. And I remember bringing a pair of shoes down to that shoe store you were talking about to get them fixed, and they laughed me right out of the store. And when they asked who my father was, I told them, and they laughed even harder. And I said, well, I was told that, you got to bring your business in Amsterdam and do your business here. He said, yeah, but go find yourself a shoe store. Have a happy New Year.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We are listening to WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York. This is the show with no name, and our guest is Phillip Tambasco, 15-year-old wonderkind of Amsterdam history, customs, and mores. Wow. How about the parks? You used to be a park attendant, right?
Yeah, I had Harmon's Field. Myself and Patty Kutsak, we were there in the summer, and
Patty. What happened to Patty?
I don't know what happened to her.
Your age?
No, she was your age.
My age.
She was part of that triumvirate.
The triumvirate?
Yeah, Tuck, Kutsak, and Tumadevich.
Oh,
the three of them. They never went any place without the other one.
Wow. Which Tumadevich?
Linda Tumadevich. Patty Tumadevich.
We'll find out if Philip's really from Amsterdam. Yeah. Can you spell Tumadevich?
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah. Patty's Kutsak's dad used to play minor league baseball.
Yes. No, he's not in my book, but I almost put him in my book because he made it to the majors.
Did he get to the majors? I know he played the minors.
It's a great story. This is for you, It's late in the season, okay? I forget who he was playing for, but he was brought up on the 40-man roster at the end of the season, which means you either play or you don't, but at least you get to sit on the bench in a major league ballpark. It's like the last game of the season. The team he's playing for has nothing to win by this game whatsoever. Okay, it's a worthless game for them. For them, it's just an exhibition game. But whoever wins the game figures in the playoff spot for somebody else. Okay, somebody can be eliminated depending on who wins this game. So the game counts, and the umpires are determined to get this game in because it determines who wins the pennant, even though his team is out of it. It's miserable weather. It's raining. It's foggy. It's everything, and. I think this is the one where Kuchek was a shortstop, I think, and the guy who was the regular shortstop comes up, and I think Is this the one where he lights the? That may be a different anecdote. Where he puts a lighter on so that the pitcher can see him or something. In any event, the shortstop gets thrown out of the game for clowning around. Kuchek comes in, and he bats for him, and he gets a double, I think. And that is his only plate appearance in the major leagues. And he retires with a 1,000 batting average. Yeah, he played I think for Colgate in college.
Yeah. So that'd be a good poll.
Just died about
put up how many professional sports figures we had that came from Amsterdam.
I did post the other day not like famous people from Amsterdam, but like Amsterdam famous people.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'll have to look.
Well,
I didn't see that one.
You qualify for that.
I was going to say mine wasn't in there.
Not yet. It's early. It's an early posting.
Yeah, but we're not from Amsterdam. We're in Amsterdam. So from would mean you're formally from Amsterdam. Formerly in Amsterdam.
Maybe. Here's one for you. How many Hall of Famers played in what's now Shuttleworth Park? I don't know the answer to how many, but I can start naming a few of them. And they didn't necessarily play
for us. They came in and played against us. Or came in. Case of Carl Yastrzemski, he came in as like American Legion.
American Legion baseball state championship. Hit a couple home runs and pitched the winning game. Carl Yastrzemski.
He doesn't know who he is.
Oh no. Esther, Mike would know. I think. I don't know about your father. Yeah, you're old enough to know Yastrzemski. Yeah. Number eight. Number 8 for the Red Sox.
Left fielder.
Yeah.
You're not taking notes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I am.
Okay. Satchel Paige. You know Satchel Paige?
I heard of it.
Yeah. Satchel Paige.
He pitched here with the Kansas City Clowns.
And he was probably in his 60s at that point, or close to it, and still pitching great baseball.
Yep.
He was 47 when he came up in the with Cleveland.
Yeah, he was in his 40s.
Yeah, and pitched in the World Series.
Tommy Lasorda,
who played with the Schenectady Blue Jays, played here a lot, and he was a longtime Dodger manager. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Jim Gentile, because he played with Schenectady, and they came through and played in Amsterdam.
Wow.
Big first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. We're showing our age, aren't we, Bob?
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
There was oh boy, there was this fellow in the Negro Leagues. I can't remember his name now. He's the guy who invented the catcher's mitt, and he's buried in St. Mary's Cemetery. Anyway, this is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hi.
Before you get too far off the topic of gambling in Amsterdam, could you explain to the guests what flash paper was?
Flash paper. You know flash paper?
That was about as high tech as it got in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, but that was pretty high tech. Okay, you want to hang up and I'll tell them?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Flash paper was a magician's trick. Okay. Every once in a while, a magician would you'd see flames coming out of his finger. He had flash paper in his hands, and what he would do is he'd be smoking a cigarette, and the flash paper would go by the cigarette, and it would burst into flames. Well, they used to write the policy slips, which are who's betting what on flash paper, so that if there was a raid, all they had to do was touch a cigarette to it, and the whole thing, all the evidence had disappeared.
Somebody mentioned that, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty high tech. Yeah, that'll do it. Now everything's on computers. I don't know.
Have to wipe your hard. Yeah, but you can never erase from your computer. There's always a way to find out what was there.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, it's probably a dangerous way to do it. But if you do it offshore,
is that how you do it?
No. I'm not a gambling man. I've been blessed. I don't have the gambling gene. What? No, you were about to say something.
No, I was just checking.
Okay, all right. Went to the track a couple of times and lost my shirt, so that doesn't look like fun.
I had to travel to Gloversville to work in one of the mills up there when I was younger, and one of the local guys wanted me to take policy slips up there to sell, so I did. I did it for about a week.
Oh.
And my mother lived there, so I stopped to see my mother, after work. And Jimmy, she says, she says, there's a big arrest down in Amsterdam. I said, yeah. I said, what for, Ma? She says, for gambling. She says, those tickets everybody is selling. I said, oh, really? She says, yeah. She says, you know anything? I said, no, I don't know anything, Ma. I came back home to Amsterdam. I turned in all the slips. That was the end.
Yeah, it's easy money, but it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, I was looking to make $1 a week.
Yeah, but
not everybody we knew who had a relative who was in the business, right? This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have a pretty interesting Shuttleworth story I'd like to share with your listeners.
Okay.
And for sure, this fellow played there, and I'm going to tell you how I know this. Back probably in 1987, I went to a Yankee game with my brother and our 3 or 4 little people, our sons and daughters. And about a day before we left, or a week maybe, the old Italians and the old everybody used to put on their kitchen cabinets a newspaper and put cans on it so it wouldn't rust through.
Right.
So I was cleaning the house and I found an old newspaper, probably dated in the 40s. On the back cover, Phil Rizzuto with a surgical mask over his firstborn daughter, Penelope Ann. So when we went to the game, we took this newspaper, we went to the broadcast area where the gate was and where his, where people were bringing donuts and things to him, and there was a guard there. And the guard, I had the paper in my back pocket. He says, well, what's your gig? He said, what do you want? I said, well, we'd like to see Phil Rizzuto. Sure. He laughed at us, and I pulled this paper out. And, of course, who would resist a picture of your firstborn? So he said, wait a minute, and he went to get Phil Rizzuto, and the guard opened the door and let us in. We all met Phil Rizzuto, and I wrote on the back of the paper our names and where we were from. And he was announcing the game on the radio this particular day, and he says to me, where are you guys sitting? I says, oh, we're out in right field. He goes, no. He says, you're going to be my guest. You're going to sit in the announcing booth, 2 booths from me.
Wow.
This is a true story. So a day before I left, I went into Dan Petitucci's.
Dan's
I
Coffee
said, Dan,
House.
I'm going to game Sunday. Would you like Phil Rizzuto's autograph? And he laughed. He said, are you kidding me? He says, you won't even get close to the guy. And, of course, another fan, great Amsterdam man, Ziggy Purak was there.
Ziggy's always there.
Ziggy and Dan never missed a game. If they were on the road, they would listen to the game on the radio. So, anyways, he put us in this booth, and there was nobody in the booth. And he says, sorry about the inconvenience. He says, we'll take care of it in a minute. Little by little, 8 chairs come in, hot dogs, sodas, ice cream, blah, blah, blah. And the next to us in the adjoining booth was a girl announcing the game to the Dominican Republic. So she's announcing the game. So Phil Rizzuto is now in the other booth. We didn't see him in a while. This girl comes in and she says, she puts the headphones over her ears and she says, Phil Rizzuto's on the air. And Phil Rizzuto is announcing our names because it was on the paper.
Wow.
From the Rug City where he played in the 40s. And I have guests from Amsterdam, New York, and I'll tell you my name, Rich Del Castello and Mike Del Castello with our children. And he announced it on the air. And the next day when I got back to Amsterdam, Dan Petitucci was going to his camp on the lake. He says, I almost hit a tree. He said, I don't know how you did it. And Ziggy Purak told me the same story. He said, Richie, he said, that's unbelievable. He says, I was driving to the lake. He says, I had to pull over.
Well, the moral of the story is clean your kitchen more often, and you never know what's going to happen.
But here's what I'm trying to do, and maybe you would know. I'm trying to the death of me, get this audio. The game was in 1987, and he announced our names.
Oh.
My son is trying to get it. My son is now 30. He was like 7 years old at the time, and I can't get that audio. If you have any idea how I can do it, I would pay.
Well, you either got to get a hold of the Yankees or Major League Baseball, see if it exists. It may or may not exist.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, that's my story.
Oh, it's a great story. Thank you.
So he definitely played there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he called it the Rug City, and we had Amsterdam, New York up on top. We put our names in, and he said, "I got friends here from the Rug City."
That's right.
And Dan Benetucci almost hit a tree.
Okay.
Thank
Great
you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Of course, you know Phil Rizzuto? No. Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. Hall of Famer for the Yankees. Played with Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, yeah.
Joe DiMaggio also came to Amsterdam that day in July of 1942. It's in my book. There's the big section.
What book's that, Bob?
The book is called Where Do We Find Such Men? And it's, by the way, if you want a copy of it, you can, if you're not in the area, you can go on Amazon and get it at Amazon.com. Where Do We Find Such Men? Or you can get it locally at the Bookhound or at the Old Peddler's Wagon. And there's a few copies at the Walter Elwood Museum and a couple up in the archives in Fonda.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for asking. This is what we do. We don't do commercials, we just do our own commercials. Okay. Have you read my book?
I have it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but having and reading are not the same thing.
I haven't started reading it yet, but
Okay.
I will.
I was going to give you a copy, and then I don't have my own car here. My wife dropped me off, so I didn't have I had a copy last week to give you, but then you didn't show up. So.
You know,
as long as you got it, okay. Yeah, that saves me a copy.
See, he ought to suggest that to his teachers at the high school, have that part of their curriculum.
It really should be part of the curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of local history in there.
There is.
A lot of stuff you can mine for your project.
Okay.
Yeah. The 1900 we read on the air a few weeks ago the 1906 report of the Board of Trade about how much commerce was going on in the city of Amsterdam in 1906 when the population was roughly the same as it is now.
But it was on the uptake then.
It was definitely on the uptake. The population doubled every 11 years from 1804, something like that.
And they were concerned at that time that there weren't going to be enough people in Amsterdam for all the jobs that were in Amsterdam.
Yeah, that was the big economic crisis.
They solved that problem, didn't they?
Yeah, solved it good. Solved it good. Yeah. How old's your father?
I don't know.
51, mere 51. Okay, just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, your mother's cousin Gary Kassler called me the other day and demanded that I go easy on you.
Would you think otherwise?
For the sake of our ancient friendship. Well, you know, I kind of. I put on Facebook that we were going to grill him mercilessly, which so far we haven't done.
We haven't got either to the grilling or the mercilessly.
That's why his father's here.
I know. I see that, and he's of course blocking the door, so none of us can get out of here.
See what it took my keys. We just left.
Well. Okay, so let's see. The new chicks are Peppies at Tambasco. Yeah, you're related to everybody.
Your father and my daughter grew up together. They hung around together at school.
Have your parents given you any tips about topics to put on there?
Yeah, my mom has. Yep.
What are you saying? Your father's not interested in local history?
Not really.
He probably doesn't get a chance to talk like the rest of us.
Wow. So Vito and Mary are your other grandparents?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, they were regulars on our show. I don't know if you know that. When we were broadcasting both live and taped from the Go Where I've Been coffee house and Polish Deli, they were there every week. So they were our live studio audience, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the relation to them?
That's his other grandparents. Mike and Maggie Dimchik are the other two. So
your sister's Paula?
Yes.
Ah, she was a real good softball pitcher when she was in high school, Paula. Yep. Her and Amy Pettengale were the pitchers.
And so you're related to Mayor Emanuel's wife, Tina. She was a Repepi.
Yeah.
Second cousins twice removed, I think. Something like that. Right? Yeah, something like that.
Now, are you keeping in an organized fashion someplace all the information that you're getting, or are you just leaving it on Facebook?
I'm just leaving it on Facebook.
Because if he took all the stuff he was getting and kept it organized, he'd have a heck of a story.
One of the problems is he asks good questions and he gets good answers, but he gets a lot of bad answers.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
What's the worst answer you got?
I get some that are totally off. Like it's not even about the subject. But,
and then they start drifting away. But a lot of people are absolutely sure of some things that turn out
not to be sure of.
There's an argument as to where the Beatles movie A Hard Day's Night played in Amsterdam, whether it was at the Mohawk or at the Tryon.
And you had conflicting opinions.
People who are absolutely positive. I didn't see the movie myself, but my recollection is it was at the Mohawk, and that was the general consensus, but other people insisted they saw it at the Tryon. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it was at both.
Not possible. Very diplomatic answer, but not.
So how do you determine what is fact and fallacy on the information that you're getting?
Well, there's like regular people that answer a lot of the questions, so I tend to go with them more, but I know some of the answers when I'm asking the questions.
Okay.
But
that's what a good lawyer does. He doesn't ask the question unless he knows what the answer is.
Yeah. Well, you stumped me on a couple of things, which. Did you have the question about what the South Side was called before it was Port Jackson?
No,
that was somebody else.
That was I grew up on Amsterdam.
Well, I know, but that wasn't you. Boy, that was I had never heard that. I had never heard.
What was the real answer? The Final Jeopardy question.
It was some really long name.
Yeah, and it was nothing I had ever heard.
Oh.
But apparently, before the canal, it was called something else. He doesn't know.
I don't remember. It was some really.
And it wasn't in Donlin. Because I keep Donlin as I said.
As your reference, yeah.
It was like an Indian name. It was long. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Oh no, that was a different answer. That was the wrong answer. See, that was one of those. Somebody said it was Caughnawaga, and it was not, because Caughnawaga was on the north side of the river, and actually now it's the Fonda area, but the original town of Caughnawaga included the city of Amsterdam. And went north to probably Canada, actually, or at least through Hamilton County.
Yeah.
The original township. Yeah. That was some town.
It's a big town.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a big town.
Couldn't know all your neighbors.
Yeah. Well, there weren't any neighbors. That was the point. Oh. So aside from the leads we gave you, got any other questions you got coming up? People
give us a hint.
Well, I gotta think. Somebody wanted me to ask what people used to play for the. What was the baseball team called? The rug.
The rug makers or textiles.
Yeah, they wanted me to ask.
That's good. That's all right. Leave it right there.
If they ever went to like the major leagues.
A lot. Oh yeah. A lot of them did. But the answer to that is on David Petruccia's website, because he actually lists everybody from the Canadian American League who made it into the majors.
You know, before we had the Mohawks, we had the two great rival teams in the city, the Textiles and the Rug Makers, who played each other, and they played in the Twilight League, which
that was the second rendition of the Rug Makers. There were the Class C Rug Makers were actually part of Major League Baseball, and then after they folded a few years later, a semi-pro team called the Rug Makers took their uniforms and. And you know, the St. Mary's Institute used to have the Rug Makers uniforms.
Yes.
They were,
Well, a lot of the guys who played,
Dutch was too cheap to buy uniforms, so they just borrowed the rug makers' uniforms.
but there were so many in the same areas kids played on rug makers,
Yeah.
and the textiles
Right.
tended to attract more of the AHS kids and
Is that right?
the college players. Yeah. You know, you had such famous names as Zeke Zilka, played right field for the textiles.
Jack Davey played for the rug
makers. Yes, he did.
In the 60s. I think he was still in high school.
And Casa Lazaro played.
Wow.
He caught for the
Perhaps the
makers.
greatest athlete Amsterdam ever produced, actually.
He could do everything.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great athletic family, the Lazaros.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're over time. It's 11 o'clock, which means the show's over, Philip. We'll drag you out of school next time or next vacation. Anyway.
And what's the name of your site for everybody to know?
You know you grew up in Amsterdam, New York.
You know you grew up in Amsterdam, New York. On Facebook. It's a kind of a closed site or invitation only, or
it's closed. You can ask to be joined.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I join?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There you go. All right. Thanks, Philip. I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch and Jim DeKosha. We'll be back next week with more of... Oh, and on Friday for a podcast. And Happy New Year, everybody. Back next week with more of the show with no name.